Throughout the last years of growing an e-commerce Facebook marketing agency, I've had the opportunity to take a look and analyze a multitude of different ad accounts across different niches and within different spending levels, ranging from just spending a couple of $1,000s per month to, spending seven-figure marketing budgets on just one campaign. Over this time, I recognized a pattern, or you could almost say a couple of most common mistakes that I see most advertisers and e-commerce brands out there commit when it comes to running and profitably scaling a Facebook ad account. Odds are that you're committing at least one of those mistakes, and that's the reason why I wanted to make this video, to walk you through those most common mistakes that I've seen over the course of the last couple of years, and to talk about how you can avoid them going into the future and a more profitable ad account. With that being said, let's hop straight into it. Hey everybody, and welcome to another video here on my channel. My name is Victor and I'm the founder of Victory Media, a boutique Facebook marketing agency that exclusively works with e-commerce businesses to help them scale their business to the next level with the help of Facebook ads. And as I've already said, over the last couple of years, I've been able to work with various different e-commerce brands that spend, anywhere from just a couple of $1,000s to, millions of dollars on Facebook's advertising platform. And I've been able to actually recognize a lot of patterns that are not even dependable on a particular spending level or a particular niche, but something that I've continuously seen across different ad accounts that we either started working with or that I've only had the opportunity to take a look at and see what they have been doing. And therefore today I'm going to share with you 6 mistakes that I have seen over the last years being committed within ad accounts at different levels. And the first mistake is actually not consolidating your ad spend or your AdSense within your ad account. That is the number one mistake that I see all advertisers are making. It doesn't matter, whether they're on low spending levels or already at, really, really high spending levels. Just a quick disclaimer before we hop right into it. Some of the mistakes that I'm going to talk about today are rather, more likely to be committed by low-level spenders, and some of them are actually, more probable to be found in ad accounts that are spending, hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. However, the first mistake, as I said, not consolidating your ad account and your ad budget enough, it's actually found, or that I've personally found it, in all different accounts that have, different sizes across different niches. And this is, although this is actually the most important part when it comes to your Facebook media buying, not even talking about ad creative whatsoever, because to be totally honest, that is a completely different topic. However, when it comes to Facebook media buying practices, consolidating your ad budget and actually, increasing the conversions that are being caused by one particular ad set is key to making your media buying and your Facebook ad account profitable, especially since iOS 14.5 hit in last May. The reason why this is so important is because Facebook's advertising platform, similar to all the other paid marketing and paid social ad platforms out there, is based on artificial intelligence, right? Their bidding system is kind of really, dependent on the artificial intelligence because of just the multitude of data they have, but also the amount of users that are, using their platform on a daily basis. Facebook themselves said that if you are not exiting the learning phase, meaning getting more than 50 conversions per week within one ad set, then Facebook will not be able to fully optimize your ad's performance. And then we already go, right? What do you want to do in order to properly exit the learning phase? You want to consolidate your ad sets and your ad budget. Because odds are, if you have more budget just allocated on one ad set, you are going to make more conversions with this particular ad set or this particular creative, which will then ultimately or eventually lead to Facebook having that conversion goal of 50 conversions per week, and then being able to properly optimize your ads performance for your target audience based on your offer, product, and brand. So the reason why I'm telling you why this is so important is because within this learning phase, how Facebook calls it, Facebook is actually testing out and serving your ad, to various different buyer personas and different, kind of persons just in general to see, okay, which of those personas is engaging the most with this brand and ad creative whatsoever. So before you have not really even hit those 50 conversions per week, Facebook is really just literally testing out your ad and to see, okay, where it works the best and where it has the biggest return for you as an advertiser and brand. So meaning if you have not really reached or exited this learning phase yet, then Facebook or your ad will probably be, have a lot more volatility to it, and therefore it will just simply not perform that well, and definitely not on steady levels. So this is the first mistake that I see tons of brands committing, right? It doesn't matter whether it's on low levels or on high levels, right? However, granted that if you are spending already thousands of dollars on Facebook per day, per week, whatsoever, that is obviously a goal that is more reachable and attainable. On the other hand, almost on a daily basis, I have brands coming up to me saying, hey, we just have $5,000 in budget per month, but our average order value is at around $50 to $100. We can just not really increase that budget yet for whatever reason. So how should we go about it? Well, the best solution is definitely not going the opposite way and trying to then just launch 20 or dozens of ad sets in order to kind of just say like, hey, we don't really have it in our hands. We cannot either way not really exit the learning phase. So therefore we're just doing the complete opposite. That is definitely not the way to go, but granted, it is a little bit more difficult to actually exit the learning phase if you have a high average order value at a low spending level, right? However, this should definitely still be on top of your mind. Your end goal with Facebook should always be to exit your learning phase and exit the learning phase with the ad set. Therefore, you should consolidate and kind of bring target audiences or bring creatives together in order to consolidate not only your budget but also your conversions and results, right? And on the one hand, you obviously have the optimization part at hand where Facebook says, okay, we need to, you need to get 50 conversions per week within one ad set in order for us to properly, test your ad creative and see which particular person is this ad creative served best. But on the other hand, you obviously also have the, results and the testing end of things, right? Because if you have more results at hand with just one ad set or within one ad creative, then you can also make more data-driven decisions because your tests and your results are more statistically significant. So this is also really important, again, especially since iOS 14.5 hit. You want to make sure that you have the most amount of results available to one ad set in order to make a data-driven and actual statistical significant decision. And talking about statistical significance, here we are already at the second mistake that I see most brands committing within their ad account, and that is not really having any kind of statistical significance or knowledge of best practices, meaning testing best practices. Truth just is that evaluating your ad set or your ad creative based upon 1,000 impressions or because one ad set or targeting option got 2 sales instead of just 1 is just not really going to be a goal-oriented advertising strategy for you, and there's definitely no statistical significance to it. Because truth be told, if one ad set after 3 days just got, 1 more purchase or 3 purchases instead of 4, it's rather luck instead of actual statistical significance and an actual increase or uplift in performance. Meaning that if you are evaluating your tests or your ad creative or your ad sets targeting options based on 1,000 impressions or based upon, okay, I've made 1 more sale there after 3 days, then you're making a decision, and your decision making within your ad account is pretty much just purely based on luck and not really on any type of testing best practices or statistical significance. And on top of just not really allocating enough budget to a particular ad set or a particular ad creative to actually have a somewhat statistical outcome of this test, on top of that, what I actually often see is that ad accounts or brands then even launch more tests. Right? And don't get me wrong, this is one thing that I always preach, that you always need to be testing because testing drives growth. But on the other hand, you always obviously want to make sure that your tests have enough budget for you to make a data-driven decision, right? And, launching 3 or 5 ad creatives per week and, trying out 5 new ad audiences or, targeting settings per week when you're just advertising on $15,000 per month is just not really going to make it for you. And it's probably going to do some more harm to your ad account than it will actually lead to an actual uplift within your ad account performance. Therefore, a general rule of thumb that I like to have and that I always like to preach when it comes to onboarding a new client is that launch less tests, but invest more time into actually laying out and planning those tests. Meaning, okay, what are the potential outcomes of this test, right? What am I going to do if the task performs X? What am I going to do if the task performs Y, right? Really kind of having a proper attack plan when it comes to testing will lead to more statistical significant outcomes and probably to an actual significant uplift within your ads performance, right? So by decreasing the test velocity and actually increasing the efforts that you put in with each test and really planning it out and having a proper attack plan, you're probably a lot better off when it comes to the end result within your campaigns and the actual performance that you're getting from your ad account. Because truth is that a Facebook advertiser, or a better said, a Facebook media buyer, needs to be hyper successful with testing best practices as well as, things like statistics. It's really as simple as that. So coming to mistake number 3, and that is really something that probably every YouTuber out there or Facebook ad guru has already talked about, but for whatever reason, I still see it on at least a weekly basis, right? That ad accounts and brands and advertisers are doing that wrong, and that is not choosing the right objective for your Facebook ad campaign. There's always somebody that for whatever reason can explain why they think it is, more logical and will be more, cost efficient to actually go with a traffic campaign or a traffic campaign objective instead of going with the conversion objective, right? And don't get me wrong, right? The explanation of, hey, I'm running that traffic campaign to actually then, get a cheaper cost per click on the front end and then be able to retarget my website visitors to then actually, eventually have a lower cost per acquisition is, completely legit, and it sounds completely rational. However, on the other hand, there has been a countless amount of tests launched, and Facebook themselves also stated that conversion objectives are just a lot better, and you should always choose the conversion objective or the particular objective that you want to get out of, for the particular conversion that you want to get out of your campaign. If this is traffic, if you want to have more traffic onto your blog post, if you want to have more traffic, for example, on a YouTube video, for example, and you want to just increase your brand awareness without any type of, aim to actually increase your bottom line profit, well, then do this. This is great. However, for the majority of the viewers right now, probably, and definitely all of the ad accounts that we are managing here at Victory Media, the main goal for our accounts is to, drive traffic in order to increase revenue and then grow their bottom line profit, right? And for this particular scenario, you should always choose the conversion campaign objective with the purchase event objective, right? I've heard countless of explanations why you should go maybe with not only with a traffic objective, but maybe with a conversion objective, but then target, things like add to carts or whatsoever. But those are one of the things that a lot of people just do not really get. And to be totally honest, this is something that I can also not logically explain, but AI just has a lot more data points than we do, and Facebook itself has a lot more data to rely upon than we or any other media buyer on this whole world, could ever rely upon. And therefore, Facebook actually knows the people that go ahead, browse on the site, add something to cart, but then exit this whole page. And they can also see the people that actually are more likely to buy something off a Facebook ad because of their historical, engagement whatsoever, right? And therefore, by saying to Facebook, hey, I want to have add to carts, or by choosing the campaign objective traffic, you literally are saying to Facebook, hey, I don't want to get purchases, I only want to get traffic. And this is what Facebook is going to get you. So if you want to have purchases, choose the campaign objective, conversions, and the purchase conversion event. So this mistake number 3 goes hand in hand with mistake number 4, which is, complicating your sales funnel, right? What do I mean by that? Similar to the third mistake, that advertisers and brands often commit by not choosing the right objective, usually, brands also come up with, super creative ways why not going for the product page or collection page or whatsoever, rather than dropping off their traffic on a blog post and then kind of gathering their email address to then, try to get them to the sale is a lot more profitable for them and will be a lot more efficient than just dropping out the traffic on a product page with a conversion objective. I've heard wild stories about why business owners try to do that instead of just dropping out the traffic on a product page where they have the option to then go ahead and purchase the product. And again, it seems logical and intelligent on the first sight, right? And it is seemingly more effective in your brain than just dropping off somebody on a normal product page, especially since probably every marketer out there already knows the statement, don't ask to marry her on a first date. But again, facts and numbers don't lie. And if you really take a look at it, conversion objectives and dropping somebody off on a collection page or product page or landing page will always get you more conversions at a lower cost per action than actually just trying to drop them off on a on a blog post whatsoever. And this is not even factoring in kind of, the additional work and additional cost that you have have by trying to gather, those email address and then managing your CRM, sending out those emails, crafting those emails, right? And also obviously crafting those additional, this additional content like blog posts, white papers, whatsoever. This is not even really entailed in that, right? So which will then actually also increase your total cost per acquisition. Having that said, let's hop straight into the fifth mistake that I see brands are doing on a daily basis, and that is tinkering around within their ad account. And to be totally frank with you, this is something that is kind of similar to the first and second mistake of not consolidating your budget and not really having any type of statistical significance within your ad results. But I wanted to re-emphasize that point because I think that is one of the major reasons why so many, especially low-level accounts, think that Facebook is just not really, worth it for them and just not really working for them, because they are literally going inside of their ad account, trying to change an ad setting, trying to change an ad creative on a daily basis. Literally, within a matter of one day they're making 20 or 30 changes probably, an ad spend of, whatever, $10,000, right? And this is, completely understandable because obviously their money, usually this is their business owner or usually kind of a small business at least managing those Facebook ads, and obviously, their emotions are plugged to this money they're spending, and therefore they're literally going inside of their ad account trying to not lose any type of money on a unprofitable ad set, unprofitable targeting setting, or unprofitable ad creative. However, while doing so and making those changes on a daily or even kind of hourly basis, while doing this, they're actually harming their performance. And again, don't get me wrong, that is completely human and understandable, right? They go ahead and try to avoid any type of losses, but you need to unplug your emotions in order to profitably and properly run Facebook ads. And again, just because an ad set or an ad creative got 10 more clicks today than those 5 other ad sets, it does not mean that this ad creative has an actual uplift in performance and will do a better job or give you better performance over the long run. And I know that this is difficult for a business owner, and that is actually one of the reasons why I think hiring an agency at that level is really, really, intelligent, because usually ad accounts at that level, $5,000 to $25,000 in monthly ad spend, are usually being managed by either the founder or business owner themselves or by some type of marketing guy that is, doing it just on the side while having thousands of other roles to jiggle, and therefore they're trying to tinker around with the ad account in order to have some kind of short-term uplift and then hopefully find this, kind of secret button to scale their ad account profitably. But unfortunately, this is just not there. So to wrap it up, don't tinker around within your ad account, don't make changes on a daily basis, and especially since iOS 14.5 hit, it is even more important since sometimes purchase data, sometimes comes even up to 74 hours later into that ad account. It is really important that you do not really make decisions based upon a, daily time window, and I would even, kind of recommend you to take more than 3-4 days. I usually take a look at a 7-day time window, especially if you're not on a huge spending level, right? Therefore, you want to make sure that you properly lay out your tests and actually commit to your tests as soon as they are launched. And you do not really go into panic mode because the first day after having spent $50 or $100, you think, okay, performance is lacking, I have to turn that off and try something new. And talking about a proper layout and having an attack plan, here we are at the last and 6th point of this video, which is not really testing enough or not necessarily really testing enough with a proper attack plan. So we've already talked about it a lot on this account. Testing drives growth, and one of the major components in order to have a profitable and successful Facebook ad account is testing on a frequent basis, right? This could be daily, weekly, monthly for you depending on your ad level, your spending levels and your budget at hand, right? However, you always want to make sure that you have a proper testing layout, right? Because a surefire way for you to have an unprofitable ad account and then just think and desperately stop trying to run Facebook ads is just trying to throw something at the wall and seeing what sticks, and then just thinking, okay, let's just try to launch a bunch of things and again, testing drives growth, and just see whether we have one winner here or there. And then, even most likely, when you then eventually have found something maybe that is performing a little bit better, you just don't really know why this has performed better, because again, you don't really have any attack plan or proper, learnings that you could have implemented and found beforehand, because you were, again, just seeing what sticks and throwing something at the wall, right? So that is one of the key things that I want you to understand. And again, something that I see at different spending levels. It doesn't matter whether they're spending just a couple of $1,000s per month or millions of dollars on Facebook every month, right? You need to have a proper testing layout, and you want to know what are the, kind of possible outcomes, and what are the predictable outcomes. What happens if it, kind of tanks? What happens if I can scale it? What happens if the performance is above average? What are the things that I can deploy if this ad creative is actually outperforming my current fast performing video, right? What are the next tests to launch if this ad creative test fails? And most importantly, you want to have those things laid out, in a written manner. Either you write it down on paper, or you have it in kind of a Google Docs document or whatsoever. For every test that we launch here at Victory Media, we have a completely full, Google document, usually around 4 to 5 pages, talking about why we're launching this, the hypothesis, different outcomes that we are predicting, kind of the metrics that we need to keep track of, our main KPIs, as well as then having a summary of the results whatsoever. Because ultimately, everybody has a plan until they're punched in the face, right? And that is something that a lot of people just do not really calculate with, because to be totally honest, the majority of people at least have some form of a plan, right? Of a testing plan. When they're already testing, they're saying, okay, this goes well, then I will do this and this and this and this. However, what happens, and that is a really common scenario, what happens if your test fails? What is the next test that you launch based on the learnings that you will get of that failed test, right? You want to lay that out and have a proper attack plan. So again, you want to make sure that you have all of this also written down, because as I said, and it's kind of a cringy statement, but it's kind of true though. So everybody has a plan until they're being punched in the face, right? And this is it to wrap it up, the 6th point, right? Just to recapitulate all of them, the things that we've talked about, right? We've talked about numerous mistakes that I've seen, various ad accounts and e-commerce brands doing, and committing over the last couple of years. And that is first, not consolidating their ad account too much, having just, a multitude of different ad sets within their ad account, not really knowing what they're doing, just kind of trying to test and go as they launch, right? And not really having their budget consolidated. So that is the first one. The second one is not really being too familiar with, just basic testing principles and statistics. Thirdly, not choosing kind of the right conversion objective. This is something that is literally a no-brainer, since everybody and their mother has been talking about it for probably 3 years already, and that is not choosing a traffic or reach or whatsoever objective rather than a conversion objective with a purchase event if you want to make sales. If you want to, kind of get leads, then, choose the leads objective, right? If you want to just get traffic for whatever reason, then, you know what to do, right? So the fourth thing, however, is then not having a too complicated sales funnel, right? Please do not really try to just drop off your traffic on a blog post or whatsoever to then kind of circle them in on the back end with your email or whatsoever. Just kind of try to really go for the purchase right away. Facebook is great at doing that, and Facebook is even greater at doing that at scale. So you want to make sure that you have that consolidated, right? So that is the fourth mistake. And the fifth mistake is then not really tinkering around within the ad account. And by really kind of shooting out those mistakes right now, you hopefully can see how all of those mistakes are intertangled, and which those mistakes are usually the cause why probably 80% of the ad accounts out there fail, right? Because usually when one of those mistakes happen, 2 or 3 other mistakes in the listed mistakes are also, pretty frequent within the ad account, right? Not consolidating your budget is probably not really having any statistical significance within your ad creative. Not really having a lot of statistical significance in your ad creative is probably then caused by a poor, sixth mistake. I don't know why I, put the 3 all the time, but whatever. But that's probably the 6th mistake, and that is not having a proper layout and a attack plan on, not really knowing what you want to do when X, Y, and Z happens, or what you need to do if this test fails. So we have talked about a lot in this video. I hope that you can go ahead and actually try to avoid committing those mistakes going into the future. Maybe you're completely lucky and you already know what to do and you have not really been committing those mistakes ever. Then great, congratulations. However, if you think that you need some outside help to actually increase your results and your returns with Facebook ads, and you're an e-commerce brand making between $150,000 and $10 million in annual revenue, then scroll down to the first link in the description to schedule a completely free 30-minute discovery call with me personally, where we can not only talk about what we could do for you and how we could, for example, really dive into your account for you to avoid making those mistakes and saving you money, but we can also talk about your current growth hurdles, right? And I can take a look and a sneak peek into your ad account to see, okay, what is happening, what you're probably doing wrong, and what you could be doing right now. So if this might be of any interest to you, then scroll down to the first link in the description, and I'll be looking forward to talking to you soon. However, either way, I hope that I will see you in the next video next Thursday. And on that note, thank you for watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more of those type of e-commerce videos and Facebook marketing tips. And have a great day. Keep growing. Thank you so much for watching the video to this point. I know that if you have come this far, that you form a part of an exclusive group of people that do not only talk, but walk the talk, and that you are hungry for more content. So therefore, I went ahead and picked out an exclusive video just for you that I know you're going to love. Check it out right here.